Today we have a 2025 Alfa Romeo Stelvio. In this video, I'll talk about what this Italian beauty is, how I feel about the interior space, and what it's like to drive it. Now, it's hard to believe that Stelvio is nearly 10 years old, and with the new generation on the horizon, I still wanted to revisit it and see if it's a worth buy. Now, from the exterior design perspective, it still looks pretty fresh, and just like with current Volvo's lineup, it proves that if you do a clean and simple design, it will age well. But the design isn't everything, so let's talk about some technical stuff. The Stelvio sits on a rear-wheel drive Giorgio platform used in Alfa's Giulia sedan, Maserati Grecale, or surprise surprise, the Jeep Grand Cherokee. It features fully aluminum double wishbone front suspension and a multilink setup in the back, combined with either passive or optional adaptive dampers. We only have one engine option right now, a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, which makes 280 horsepower and 306 pound-feet of torque, so when you look at its competition, a BMW X3, Mercedes GLC, or an Audi Q5, this is the highest horsepower for power in the segment, but unlike the German rivals, it isn't a mild hybrid, which actually might be a good thing since there's no added complication to the powertrain. The Quadrifoglio variant with a 505 horsepower twin-turbo V6 seems to be gone for 2025, but you can probably find some cars on dealer slots and, who knows, maybe even get a good deal on them. Now, no matter which engine we're talking about, we always have a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission on board and a rear bias all-wheel drive system with a mechanical LSD. Other markets also feature a diesel option and a rear-wheel drive, but sadly, they were never offered in the US. Pricing starts at around $49,000 for the base model and tops at $58,000 for the tested Tributo Italiano limited edition that we're testing today, which gives you some styling accents and basically a full equipment. Now, before we talk what it's like to drive the Stelvio, let's take a look inside and talk about the interior space. Okay, inside the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Now, unlike the exterior, which still looks fresh, the interior shows this car's age, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Why? Well, first of all, ergonomics. They're great. We get a good amount of physical controls, including the HVAC system or the infotainment, making the car easy to use. You get inside this thing and you know what's where, and figuring things out takes no time. The screen is nicely integrated into the dash, and same applies to the gauge cluster. When you look at the new BMW X3, Audi Q5, or the Mercedes GLC, screens in those cars look like they're an afterthought, which is not the case here. So let's talk quickly about the technology. Well, it works, and that's the best way to describe it. While the infotainment system has a logical interface, it's slow to operate, and you can tell that Alfa didn't bother investing in new hardware to improve the processing power. Same with the software. It looks 2 generations old, and at the end of the day, it gets the job done, it works, and I didn't find it super frustrating to use, but if you're a tech person, you will feel a little disappointed. Now, the usability. I think from all premium compact SUVs, the Stelvio has the least amount of space. While we get an okay storage in the center console and door pockets, the trunk isn't mind-blowing and the backseat feels rather cramped. As a reference, I have a Volvo XC60 and the Volvo is definitely more spacious and practical. But hey, you don't buy an Alfa for practicality, right? What I really like about the Stelvio though is the feeling behind the wheel. Maybe you don't sit super low, but I really like the driving position, the steering wheel is relatively small, and the seats provide good balance of comfort and support. Well, that was the cabin of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, so let's get it on the road now and see how it drives. Okay, so we are behind the wheel of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Now, when the Giulia sedan came out like a decade ago, I was super excited about it and I was like, I cannot wait for the wagon variant. And then Alfa said, well, unfortunately, we are not going to be releasing Giulia wagon. Stelvio is going to play that role of a practical car in our lineup, but we promise it's gonna be very well tuned dynamically. Is it true? Well, we are on our favorite back road, so let's find out. You can put it into dynamic mode using the DNA selector, transmission into manual. All right. Let's safely pass this cyclist here and see what the Stelvio is capable of. Okay, so the engine is a typical 2-liter turbo 4. It has a good amount of low-end torque, but it dies down pretty quickly, around 5,000 RPM. It doesn't have much character, and that's a little disappointing because I was expecting a little bit more from Alfa. Even better exhaust note. This is very isolated and it's good, it's quiet. There isn't much NVH coming from the powertrain, but I was expecting a little bit more character. Even the B48 that BMW puts in the X3 has a little bit more soul to it, if you will. Now, what I really like about this drivetrain though is the ZF 8HP transmission. It's just excellent. Super quick to downshift, quick to upshift. When we drive in normal mode, it's gonna be buttery smooth, work like a CVT. So yeah, the ZF never disappoints, and the software that Stellantis wrote for it is pretty darn good. Now, we have rear bias our all-wheel drive system, and the car very nicely rotates on throttle, also rotates under braking, and dynamically we can tell that this is a rear bias system. I'm really attacking those corners faster than I thought, and the Stelvio puts a smile on my face. The suspension is also very well tuned. After switching into dynamic mode, the dampers stiffened up because we have adaptive dampers on board. There's obviously noticeable body roll, and you still feel the weight, you still feel that it's an SUV, but I really like it. Alfa didn't lie. They did prioritize driving dynamics here, and it's a pure pleasure to drive this thing. The steering doesn't provide us much feedback. It feels unnaturally quick, like little sudden moves change the trajectory of the car very fast. You have to get used to that, but it does feel a little bit unnatural. They did it to give you that sensation of nimbleness. It works, but still, I would prefer more slower steering rack that would allow me to do those mid-center corrections. All right, one last corner, and let's go into the normal mode, put the transmission back into drive, and talk about what it's like to live with a Stelvio on a daily basis. I am very positively surprised as well. The suspension is very well tuned in soft damper mode. The damping is amazing. The car really nicely filters out all the road imperfections, and despite the fact that we have 21-inch rims on our tester, the cabin is also pretty quiet. We have laminated side windows, and at higher speeds, something like an X3 or a Mercedes GLC or an Audi Q5 will feel more refined. It will be a little bit more quiet, but this is totally acceptable, and you can do highway speeds that are allowed in America very easily, and it's not like you're gonna be yelling at your passengers. This is a very nicely isolated, and it truly feels like a luxury product. And what I also like about this thing is that it's old. It feels old school. You have good amount of physical controls in here. The visibility is also great. To the sides, up front, out back, it's a little compromised because of the design of the windows. We have big C-pillars, but even though this car is almost 10 years old, I really enjoy driving it, and maybe I'm just getting old, but I do have an appreciation for that simplicity. Integrated screen into a dash, not multum of screens, lights, and all that stuff. I really like this thing. Now, would I buy it? I don't know, probably not. I would be scared to buy an Alfa, but you know what? Leasing this thing, I bet you can get a pretty good lease deal on those. They're not moving that fast from dealer slots, so if you want to try it, if you want to get something that has a little bit of more old school feeling, give it a shot. We also have a good set of driver assist systems that we expect in the car from 2025, adaptive cruise control, lane centering, traffic jam assist, blind spot monitoring. There's no 360-degree camera, but we do get parking sensors, so yeah, it lives up to the expectations. It feels old and dated, but you know what? It has that charm that I like, so let's head into the final thoughts and summarize it. Okay guys, summing up the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Many of us, myself included, don't like the direction in which luxury compact SUVs are going. They're down on interior quality, down on the amount of physical controls, but up on weight and screens. Well, if you still want to get a brand new, previous generation feeling SUV, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio is the answer. And there aren't that many compromises. It still looks fresh, it has great ergonomics, awesome driving dynamics, and it's comfortable as a daily. My only concern with it would be reliability, but to be honest, probably you're gonna lease this thing, so after 3 years, if it breaks down all the time, you're just gonna return it and say thank you. Anyways, if you guys have any questions about this thing, drop a comment and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.